about my class.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Sponsored by the West Cork Beer Company. Link below in the description. Please go over and check him out. West Beard Oil and Beard Balm made from natural ingredients from West Cork. All handmade. It's his own business, so go over and check him out. Links below in the description. Kindly sponsors the podcast. Good evening to you all in the chat box. All happy today, I hope, after yesterday's result. As always, keep your what's the word I'm looking for? Behave yourselves in the chat box, because we have Nigel in there. Nigel, the moderator, and he will chuck you out before you can say the word Bakayaro Saka. So yeah, don't be messing in there. He'll have you out. My earphones have gone all haywire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce everyone. Dan, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, very positive after yesterday. Very happy. We won. Nice to see. So, yeah, can't complain from me today, mate. Nice positive podcast, hopefully.
Well, let's hope so. Harry, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Rubbing shoulders with Arsenal legends?
Oh, I had a great day yesterday, man. Not aside from the result, I had a great day. I'm happy. I'm buzzing.
Yeah, Mr. Judge, how are you, sir?
Oh, good. Thank you very much. A bit jealous of Harry there, meeting and drinking the champagne and all that. But there you go.
Can I just say as well, they don't serve half pints unless you ask for them, which means the judge is asking for them.
don't believe it. Don't believe it for a minute, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so a nice result. A 4-0 win. Obviously, something that we desperately needed to win that game yesterday, and we did. Dan, let's get your quick prognosis on the game yesterday.
Yeah, well, start with the team news, to be fair, because a little bit of a shock. I looked at the team news and thought perhaps he had Thursday night in mind. Obviously, saw Eddie and Ketty are starting. Now, I wasn't so annoyed that Lacazette had been dropped, but I think for me, the main thing was that Aubameyang wasn't through the centre and Eddie was playing. Then when I saw Ceballos playing, excuse me, I thought Ozil must be dropped. Ozil plays as well as Ceballos. So it was all a little bit mixed matched, if I'm honest. But when the game started, it was as if they just had their kind of break in Dubai and hadn't really kind of followed on anything different from the Burnley game, if I'm honest with you. It looked like a real dead half. Thought Newcastle set up really well. Obviously come with a game plan. Looked like they set up with the formation that I expected. And we found it very hard to break them down. And then I remember sitting at half time, outside Block 5, talking to the boys, thinking, this is not looking good, and perhaps Dubai was not the answer. But the second half, whatever happened with Arteta, he really did put the shakers up them, and they came out the second half straight away, scored a goal, and then opened the floodgates from there. Really, I think that second half performance was pretty exceptional, and I was really impressed with a few players, in particular Saka and Pepe. I thought Saka and Pepe were sensational down each wing. I actually thought Ceballos and Ozil were really good. A lot of people were giving Ozil a lot of stick, and I still don't quite understand why, but I thought he played very well. I thought Dani Ceballos looked like the kind of Dani Ceballos that we saw at Burnley, second game of the season, I think it was. And yeah, good to see the four strikers scoring. You look at the front four, we've been trying to get that working, and it looks now like finally, let's hope we can push on and continue some of these players scoring, because, a lot of people there, Ozil hasn't scored for a long time. Lacazette's finally broke his duck now. You've got Aubameyang back on the score sheet after his suspension. Pepe, I thought, was magnificent. Great little dummy from Saka and a little nutmeg from Saka. Great assist. So a 4-0 win, and you've got to look at it and think, I just want to see performances now. We've been told by Arteta that this team are ready. They're hungry. They've had a great break. They're together. The banter's great. The morale's great. Prove it on the pitch. And if we can continue to do this now, then who's to say that we can't go on a nice little run now. The fixtures are there for us, Craig. You know, they're there for us. We've got some great home games. We've got the Europa League coming up. We've got Pompey in the Cup. So let's stay positive and see if we can go on a run, because I want to see some action now, not just words. You know, we've been told this is a hungry side. Let's go and prove it on the pitch. But very happy with yesterday's second half performance.
Absolutely, mate. I can't. You know, there's no disagreeing. Harry, up in the posh seats, mate. How was it up there?
Yeah, it was interesting to see the game from a different perspective, because I normally sit in the North Bank lower tier in the corner in Block 6. So as great as that is, and I absolutely love it there, I wouldn't swap it for anything. It does give you an alternative view when you're that little bit higher up. You can see shapes a little bit better. You can try and work out tactically what's going on. For me, Dan's touched on most of the points from the team selection. There were some surprises in there, but for me, what was the most impressive, I thought the decision to play Ceballos in that deeper position was a bit of a masterstroke on Arteta's behalf. And I say that because nobody expected it. When people saw Ceballos' name on the team sheet, everybody thought he was going to be the number 10, if you like. He wasn't going to be one of the deeper lying players. But in a game where we knew we were going to have the majority of the possession, we were going to need to be creative. We were going to try and dictate the play. It was interesting to see him do that, because I think that's the first time we've seen Mikel Arteta actually put his stamp on this team and say, do you know what, actually, we've had our break. We know what we want to do now. Let's go and impose ourselves. Let's not be as cautious, because I think since Arteta's come in, everybody expected us to, change and play this free-flowing football, and we've done it in spells, but he has been a lot more pragmatic than people thought, and he's had to do that to stabilize the team, because our defense has been shocking. So I think we got a glimpse yesterday of what the longer term view is from Mikel Arteta, and that is to have someone who sits in that deep position, who can dictate the play, who's not as tenacious as Lucas Torreira, but is more competent on the ball and in possession, and will help us tick. So I think Arteta would have enjoyed that performance from Ceballos. And Ceballos has been making noises about possibly leaving early, etc., etc. So to see him in the team and playing well is a testament to him as well, because he could have down tools, not getting the game time. I know he had injuries, but even either side of his injuries, he wasn't starting regularly. So for him, it's a testament to how hard he works as well. And I think he showed Arteta exactly what Arteta wants to see from a midfield.
Absolutely. Just before we come on to Lee, good evening to you all. If you're watching us on Facebook, we're streaming to Facebook this evening for the first time on the page. I should have really put a link to it in the description, shouldn't I? What I'll do is after the podcast, I'll put a link to it on Twitter, and you can like the page as well. I've started putting a few videos up there, like today, for example, that video of Saka going, whoops, when he nutmegged that Newcastle player, which was fairly good, was quite funny, with Aubameyang standing next to him. Lee, how'd you get on yesterday, mate? Did you have a good day?
I had a good day, thank you very much. It's all about the classes. I don't give monkeys about formations, tactics, or whatever. Right? I went to the game, and this is a true story. I'm not lying here. Watch it go. I forgot that I had my glasses with me, so I watched the first half. It was not very good, very, very poor. Had a chat with Jack and his jockey, because he won it on his horse the day before, so that was very nice. And had a nice little chat with him. And anyway, I thought, I got my glasses in there. I forgot about them. Whacked them on. As I whacked them on, I put them on like our Aubameyang rose like a salmon and banged it in, like, you know what I mean? And right at that time, like, you know what I mean? So the glasses are going to have to come with me week in, week out now. It's all about them. So, that's it really. So, listen, I think I've got to say, big up to the fans that went on Sunday, because I'm pretty sure that every fan at one stage must have thought, I don't know, it's just on telly, it's pouring down the rain, the trains are not working, it was going to be a hassle. Oh, shall I go and shall I not? But a lot of fans probably did blow it out, because there did seem to be quite a few empty seats. But for the ones that went, they got their just rewards, because it was second half. It was absolutely fantastic football to watch. I have to say, I concur with what everybody said on so far. I felt that Saka, I've got to say this, I just thought he was up for it from the word go. in the first half, we didn't really feed him so much. I thought that was a little bit of a disappointment. There were times when he had so much space out there and he wasn't being fed. But I thought that he'd done really, really well. I've got to say that Ceballos, as Harry said, it was an absolute masterstroke. I didn't, I'm going to say I was a little bit annoyed when the team sheet came out and Ozil was playing, because I think how many more chances is this bloke going to get? You know what I mean? Lacazette weren't playing; it was left out, rightly so. But there he is playing, and Ceballos as well. But I'll tell you what happened in the game. Ceballos was the one that allowed Ozil to have space and create. You know what I mean? And what he was doing was every time he got the ball, he fed Ozil through the lines, which we haven't been able to do. And that's why Ozil's been isolated and not been able to get in the game. But what we done and what Arteta done was he knew that they was going to pack the defence out, and he made sure that we made sure we got Ceballos on the ball, who then in turn fed Ozil. And I thought Ozil was brilliant yesterday. People have are saying that he's okay, like I mean. He's doing this and he's doing that, and I don't think he should be in the starting lineup. And even people today are saying that he didn't play well today, and I can't believe that. You know what I mean? If he plays well, I will say it. If he doesn't play well, I will say it as well. But you can't keep bashing a player. And then the one that really does annoy me about it is, it's only Newcastle. You know what I mean? And it really does get on my goat, because you can only play what's in front of you, and they're no mugs, Newcastle. I have to say, last time they come to North London, they got 3 points. Lovely. You know what I mean? So it was always going to be a tough game. And I felt that first half, we produced a poor performance. You know what I mean? I'm like with Dan. If someone would have come up and said to me, you're going to win this 4-0, I wouldn't have believed them. I would have bit your hand off at that moment if someone said you was going to win 1-0. I felt that. I'd have jumped on that. But once we got the goal, some of the football was breathtaking. I'm really enjoying Saka. I don't know, people seem running and saying, like, is he a left back or not? I'm really enjoying his performances at left back. I'm really enjoying. He's got the freedom of the park. He hasn't really got to worry about defending so much. I just love him in that role. I've got to say, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. And I just felt that we quietly went about our jobs. Saka played very, very well. And I'll have to go with what the boys thought. I honestly thought when I looked at the team sheet, that's it. We're looking for Thursday night's game against Olympiacos. That's what we're going to focus on. And I have to say that it was far from it. Do you know what? And I'm going to say this now. I think there's something about Arteta I do like, and that's the thing. He's now giving someone like Eddie a chance up front. And I think what he's saying to Eddie is that, I'm going to give you the chance to see if you can do it. Not like, and he's going to give him a go. And if he's not going to be good enough, then fair enough. But he's going to give him the chance. And I like that, I think that Willock will get a chance at some stage as well this season. So I just think, I don't know about you boys and the people in the chat, I'm really enjoying that there's a few youngsters in the team and have been given a chance. And I think I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying that. I'm watching these boys develop. And I just think now I'm hoping, somebody said a very, very good point yesterday at the game. What is the point of playing Ceballos if he's only going to be here to the end of the season, or are they going to be looking to buy him? Because if they're just going to let him get games so that he can go to the Euros, I'd rather see Willock come into the side, and I agree with that. But I think that if they're going to play this Ceballos, and let's make sure we tie him up, because what I see yesterday, I think there is a player in there, and I think that we looked to a level up from an attacking point of view yesterday with him in the side. So that's how I see it. Good win. And the best thing about it all, we are now +2 on the goal difference. And I'm absolutely, it's been getting my goat week in, week out, seeing that minus. I'm seeing the plus. I'm loving it. And it's about time. I agree with what everybody's saying. Let's not go overboard. We're still 10th in the league. But as I say, let's be positive. And I think there is only 2 teams that are unbeaten in the whole of Europe
2020.
in 2020.
Correct. Us and the pool, I believe. I just want to. I was at. Me and Lee had a little bit of a banter about it yesterday on Twitter, but I just want to mention Leno. I know I'm a goalkeepers union and all that, but that save he pulled off in the first half.
What one?
What one?
Oh yeah,
The deflection when he was going one way and he had to move all his body weight over to the other side.
What then trickled to him? Well,
this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem with players who play on the pitch. Oh, that only trickled to you. What you do? Lee Judges has never had to move his body weight that quick before, ever.
I have when Russell was trying to get me to get a pint in.
Yeah, exactly. Unless when it's your round. But that was a bloody good save. And I think, and I don't know what the reason I mentioned that save is because I think he's done so well this year. And if it wasn't for him, there's no denying it. We could be a lot lower in the division. But Dan, I'm getting a little bit worried someone's going to come in for him.
There was rumours, I think I was saying to you earlier, about Manuel Neuer coming to the end at Bayern Munich and they want Leno. That is what I've heard, to be fair. Listen, I'm a huge fan, to be fair. I always have been. I don't think he's had I can think of probably 3 bad games he's had in the 2 years that we've had him. And I think that's probably the Chelsea game this season where he had that shocker or a howler, I should say, against Chelsea this season a few weeks back. Obviously, last season, I thought he was really poor against Wolves away and Southampton away towards Christmas. But apart from that, I think he's saved more than leaked. So for me, I think this season, apart from Dubravka, I think he's made the most saves in the Premier League as a goalkeeper. So yeah, we have a lot to thank him for. And I know people talk.
Sorry to cut across you there. Someone else come in and said that his distribution is poor. Now, that's something that can be worked on, and he's correct. That comes in from South London's finest. It was a great save, and his distribution was poor yesterday. But something that can be worked on.
I think so. I think it was really frustrating.
Sorry to interrupt, sorry to interrupt.
That's all right, Graham.
Can I just come in there? Can I just come in there, Craig?
Can I just come in here, please? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've got to say this point. I'm not having a go at Leno. I thought it was a routine save, but you know what I mean? Craig loves him, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ, he sent him 4 Valentine's cards this week, you know what I mean? Hoping for a like. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's another story, So, but he did do very, very well, right? But what I've liked about Leno, I think he's been great when we were having these shots rained in at him now. But also now his game's changed a little bit where he's not doing so much, so his concentration levels have got to be good, and he's still performing and getting a good save in, and performing well. And I think that's a very, very big key. That all of a sudden he's now not involved in the game so much. And he's still making his routine saves and all that, So
I think one thing as well that I don't think people kind of just sort of masked over really. The last few goalkeepers that we have had, when the balls come back to them from the defender, everybody goes, "Oh, just get rid of it." Yeah. You don't do that with Leno, do you? You don't do that with Leno. You kind of have the confidence that he's going to do the right thing. And I know his distribution isn't up to scratch, but I wouldn't say it was poor, if I'm honest with you. I wouldn't look at it and go, "Oh, crikey, where's he going with that one?" So I think that this game was a lot better than it was against Burnley. Burnley was a bit frustrating, I thought, Leno, with his distribution and the fact that he's just slowing it down so quickly. But for this yesterday, didn't think he was poor at all. And I like the guy. I think he's quite underrated as a goalkeeper, if I'm honest. So I'm towards Craig with this one. I'm a fan of Leno.
We've got this. There's a donation there. Thank you very much indeed for the donation. Bill, I haven't missed yours. Don't worry, mate. I have it written down here, but I'm going to come to that a little bit later on when we're actually talking that. So
is that £40 or 40p?
I'd say it's about... Well, it doesn't matter how much it is, really, does it?
Well, it does.
It's very kind. No, it doesn't. And he says
Lee wants a Big Mac.
Oh, I want a Big Mac. It's mega Big Macs out at the moment. What do they call them? They're lovely.
I had one Saturday.
What are they called?
The Big Mac Grand.
I had one on them. When we do, I think I had one of them. Where was that? We went to Manchester when I come back from Burnley game. Very nice.
Very nice.
Enjoyable.
Highbury, thank you very much.
Extra salad.
Sorry that Lee's getting a bit excited. Thank you very much about the big Macs. Highbury, thank you very much for your donation.
Well, where is it then? Where is it?
It's here.
Well, show us in.
Well, I did have it up before you started telling us about your big match in Burnley. So
We're on UK Gold or something here? What's going on? Like, you know what I mean?
you want to get some? You want to get some hearing aids to go with those glasses, I reckon. He was saying that Leno's kicking hasn't improved all season. While we're on the,
I think he was very, very poor against Burnley. I have to say that he was giving me the ump, kept delaying and all that. But I didn't see that yesterday. I thought his all-round game yesterday was good. If I'll be honest, I have to start checking out his kicking, but I didn't think that was something to worry about.
Harry, what about you on Leno, Harry? Would you be with me? Would you be worried that people are going to come sniffing?
Not quite at this point. I'm not overly worried about somebody coming in for him. I think what you guys have just touched on, the distribution bit, I think that's massive in modern day football. And I think that when you look at the way certain teams want to play, that they will look at that in a goalkeeper. I don't think Leno's particularly bad at it. I don't agree with people when they say his distribution is awful. I just think that when you're asking your goalkeeper to play in that way, there's an element of risk to it. And you've seen Manchester City's goalkeeper Ederson make mistakes playing that way. You've seen, Claudio Bravo came to Manchester City from Barcelona, one of the best in the business, but then he couldn't handle it because you're asking them to play in this way. It's very dangerous in the sense that you're asking them to be outfield players as such, and ultimately they're not. They're goalkeepers. So there's very few that can play that way. If you're a manager that insists on playing in that style, then you have to accept that at times you're going to make mistakes playing that way. And that's it's just the modern day goalkeeper. The role of the goalkeeper has changed. It's not like it used to be. You'll now see smaller, agile goalkeepers that are comfortable with their feet. Whereas in the olden days, you would have seen a big goalkeeper come out with his fists to punch a corner, and it was a completely different mindset. So I just think the game's changed, it's adapted. But in terms of Leno moving on, I think he's a decent goalkeeper. I don't think he's top draw, but I don't think he's bad by any means. I think he's good enough for Arsenal at this moment in time, so I'm happy with him. But I don't see the likes of Bayern or somebody like that coming and taking a punt on him, because if they wanted to, why didn't they do it before when he was in Germany? Very
true, mate. Very true. Harry, I'm going to stay with you for this. Stay with you, mate. We need to talk about young Saka. Again, man of the match performance. This young kid's come into this team and has absolutely nailed his chance. Yesterday, again, like I said, man of the match performance from him. What are we going to do when Kieran Tierney is fit? It's worrying me. I want to bring this in from Claude. Good evening, Claude. How are you, sir? Is Saka the new Ashley Cole? Do we agree?
I think he's having a little dig at me there, old Claudy boy. Like that,
is he? Okay.
Yeah, because I said that a couple of weeks ago. It does remind me of Ashley Cole, like sort of, you know what I mean? Like Ashley Cole was a wide player and was converted into a left back and has been superb. I think Saka has been absolutely superb at left back. I think he's better. His better performances have been when he's been left back. That's my opinion at this moment in time. I think he can go forward and maybe play as the player in the number 10 or even out wide left. I think the boy's just a real talent, and somewhere along the line he's got to be in the team.
Absolutely.
At the moment, left back.
I agree. I think he's done really. I think he's done really, really well, and he deserves a lot of praise for the performances that he's putting in at the moment. I think at some point he's going to have a sit down with Mikel Arteta and decide where his future lies, though, because is he a left back or is he going to be a left winger? And that is a conversation that they need to have, and they need to, come up with the right plan. But at this moment in time, for somebody of his age and of his little experience, it's just about getting game time under his belt. And we've seen lots of players who have had to come into teams to play in slightly different roles just to get game time and to get experience. So at this point, I think it's all about playing football for Bukayo Saka. And I think in his case, and in the case of lots of players, sometimes it suits you not being the left winger, and it suits you coming into the game later from a deeper position, because often you're not marked that way. It's very rare that the right winger is going to follow you all the way back to the edge of his own penalty area. So a lot of the time you get that little extra bit of space. You're a spare man as such when your team are attacking, and it helps. So I think that we've seen the benefit of that with Bukayo Saka. He's a fantastic talent, but the real worry is now we've got to tie him down on a contract because, that's the concern at the moment. With the talent's there. Whether we can nurture it and get the maximum out of him remains to be seen. But the talent's certainly there, and I hope that Arsenal tie him down on a long-term deal and he can spend some time working under Mikel Arteta because it's done him good.
Absolutely. Dan, what would you say about? I mean, obviously we've got to try it. The biggest thing is that we tie him down to a contract because someone is going to come in for him. A big club will come in for him. For quite handy money, I would imagine, because he's a very talented boy. But my concern is, what are we going to do with Kieran Tierney? Does Tierney come in back into left back? Is Kieran Tierney a better left back than Saka?
I think that he probably is. Listen, if you're good enough to play for Arsenal, it doesn't matter how old you are, and Saka's proven that. A lot of people have said, Maitland-Niles is still young and Nelson's still young and Guendouzi's still young. Saka's younger than all of them, and he's come straight in. He's not even that position, and he's taken the ball by the horns, and he's put, in my opinion, nailed down a position there now. I don't think he's moving out of that position. When Kieran Tierney does come back, I think there will be a time where Arteta looks to push him forward. The other problem we got is who to drop out in front of him, because Martinelli is that left winger and I don't want to drop him either. So if Saka and Martinelli can form that partnership, then it looks bad news for Kieran Tierney and Kolasinac. Now, if you had to get rid of one of them, obviously Kolasinac goes. You keep Tierney. But for me, I think what Arteta will do is play Kieran Tierney back at left back when he's fit. And I think that Saka will just be used as that strength in depth, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad decision for Arteta to have, is it? I've got all these players that are good enough to play in position. Great. That's what you want. You want 25 of them in your squad. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And people can get quite negative on that and think, it's out of order that he's been pushed out. I'm not so sure. I think it's quite a good thing. Because if you got a position where we are in now, where, say, Kieran Tierney plays on the Sunday and Bukayo Saka plays on the Thursday night, that's not such a bad thing. So I think strength and depth is a great thing. And I'm a massive fan of this young lad. I think that he's got whatever he wants to be, he can be. That's how good this lad can be. I really have got a lot of time for this lad. I think he's come into the side with a great amount of promise. But what I like is the fact that he's actually got a little bit something about him and a little bit of strength. And I spoke to my mate a couple of days ago who said that he actually thinks that Saka would be better than Martinelli. So that's how much people are rating this lad.
Lee, Karen says this. Look what Mikel did to Sterling. He could do the same for Saka.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Listen, I think like the Martinelli one. I think eventually he'll go up into the middle. I think that I think it's by playing him out wide at the moment, it's getting him games, but ultimately he will go out wide, and I think maybe that's what will happen with Saka in the future. But we were talking 2-3 years down the line.
We might be talking in the summer, Lee, if Aubameyang goes.
Well, he could do, but I think that if you're going to ask someone like Martinelli to do our line in the up front on his own, a very, very difficult thing to do. As it was for Eddie yesterday. I think that it's not easy. Anybody that's played up front on their own would know that. So to put an 18-year-old, 19-year-old in there, I think would be, putting a lot of pressure under Martinelli. So I still think that these boys are still going to learn, still learning the game. As good as Saka was yesterday, there was a few times he got pushed off the ball, brushed off the ball. He's not quite, the man yet. All of that's got to come when he gets his strength and all that. You're actually looking at a player that's absolute quality at 18, but I'm thinking 2-3 years time when he's physically matured as well as he is a player, we're going to have some player on our hand, and the same with Martinelli. So, I think that people are going on about Tierney as well. He's not Arteta's player, is he? So Tierney's got a real job in training to impress. I don't see him. You're going to come straight in. I think that the worst thing for Kieran Tierney is he keeps getting injured, and he needs to get fit and then prove to Mikel that he can play this position, because it's not a given that he's going to be straight back in the side, because as I said, he's not Arteta's main man there. And I have to say, I thought one of our best players when first coming in Arteta was Kolasinac, and he's not come straight back in to the team because of Saka playing so well. I just think that we've got a couple of these guys in Saka and Martinelli that are going to be not just superstars for us, but I think for world superstars. I really feel that if keeping away from injuries, which we have no luck with, but hopefully we do with these two, we've got two players here that are very, very exciting. I'm going to have to say, disappointed me yesterday that I didn't see Martinelli. You know, I'm going to the games. I'm excited about seeing him play, but as much as I was disappointed by that, Saka's performance made me forget about that. You know what I mean? And that's how great it was yesterday. So for me, they're the two guys that I'm looking at to really take Arsenal forward over the next few years. I'm sure the contracts will be sorted out. When you come through the ranks at Arsenal, that's the team you want to play for. So I'd imagine that will be done. It's been great if you're 18, 17, 18, and you're asking the manager where he thinks he's best positioned to play. But I also think from Saka's point of view is that if he can play left back, wide left up into the midfield that he has played behind the front two or the striker before in the past, he's got so many options that he's going to give so much opportunity of game time. At his age, it's unbelievable. And I look at somebody like Foden, who's got a great future, or so they say at Man City, but he must be looking at it and thinking, well, hold on a minute, this kid's getting game time at Arsenal, and I'm not, and I think that Arsenal are doing the right thing with him. I think he's been. Listen, we had no left backs at one stage, and now we're thinking like, oh, we don't, have another couple of weeks off, Kieran. You know what I mean? We don't really need you back. It's fantastic, and all credit to him. I think he's an exciting player. Look what he done for the goal. You know what I mean? I think that he's got quality on an end product as well. I don't really know where his best position is going to be. You know, if you said to me, where do you think he's going to be at the end of it? You know, I think it's all guesswork. I think he can play in any position. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he develops in the next few years.
Okay, when we come back after this quick break, we shall talk about Daddy Ceballos.
Daddy Ceballos.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
Yes, that was, of course, the West Cork Beer Company who sponsored the podcast. Thank you, Colin, for your kind sponsorship. Much appreciated, mate. Link in the description if you have a beard, Harry. Harry, I want to come to you on this one because Danny Ceballos, how good was he yesterday? And I've lost my train of thought now for some reason. How good was he yesterday? And do you think that Lee was saying earlier on that, perhaps he was the way forward, playing him in the middle. Do you think that? Do you think he could, do you think we could keep hold of him? Do you think we could sign him?
Look, if he gets some game time under Mikel Arteta and he continues to impress and he feels happy, then I'm sure that, we can try and sign him. It's obvious that Real Madrid don't want him. Otherwise they wouldn't have loaned him out.
Yeah.
If Zinedine Zidane thought that he was good enough to play for their first team and part of his plans, he wouldn't be out on loan, to put it simply. But I think the problem has been that his time at Arsenal has been interrupted by a number of reasons. Of course, there was the injuries, Unai Emery's tinkering, he was a victim of that, even though Unai Emery was the one that was responsible for bringing him to the club, because Ceballos has said recently that Unai Emery even visited him at his home to persuade him that Arsenal was the place for him. So he probably would have been a bit disappointed to have come and to have been left out as often as he was, considering the effort that Unai went to bring him. So I think, look, there is a chance that it can be turned around. We've seen Granit Xhaka's future turned around. It looked like he was off, and now he's staying. Mustafi's back in the team and he's playing quite well. Arteta has shown that he can turn players around, and I'd like to see him stay, depending on his performances between now and the rest of the season. Like I said at the top of the show, I thought it was a masterstroke playing him in that position. But I'd also emphasize that there's certain games that you can get away with it, and there's games that you can't, because we're just not defensively solid enough. So if you're going away to Manchester City, are you going to play Xhaka, Ceballos, and Ozil? Probably not, because, you know, quite frankly, we're not defensively stable enough to then say, actually, we're going to go there and we're going to be ballsy and we're going to play looking to keep possession and dominate you. There's going to be games where we're going to have to muck in because we're just not quite at that level yet. And you probably get more of that from Lucas Torreira. But when you're going to come up against teams like this, who are going to sit back, play a 5-4-1, whatever it was that Newcastle played, park the bus, then I think it helps having a ball player in a deeper position, because it means you can start play from deeper in the pitch and you can create spaces. And it means that Ozil, I guess, had a bit more freedom yesterday. If you look at his touch map, he was popping up on the left, popping up on the right. And when you've got someone as stable in possession in the middle of the park, he can do that.
Would you agree with that? That's on the screen, that?
Yeah, I would, because it's all good people talk about him playing in between the lines, and that's massive. And he does do that every week. He does play in between the lines. But if he's playing in between the lines and you're not finding him, then it makes it look like he's not doing anything. So if you can feed him, you know, then you'll see the benefits of that. And I spoke about it. I can't remember what game it was earlier on in the season. We were talking about a game where Xhaka was feeding Ozil really well, and it worked really well. And Ceballos was doing that yesterday. And that's why I think Xhaka Torreira works better than Xhaka Guendouzi, because one of them needs to be feeding Ozil. In this case, yesterday, that was Ceballos, and he done it really, really well.
Dan, I want to come to you, and I want to talk to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to each of you with these last few points that I've made here now. Pepe, Dan, scored a goal yesterday and played very well.
Very well, yeah. I was a massive fan of Pepe. I thought he was sensational. Even on the way in the first half, everyone was pretty poor. He was the one who I thought looked like the kind of player that was trying, at least, you know. I must mention Eddie Nketiah quickly, because I think that, although I don't think he took his chance, he did have a couple of chances, one at the bar, and obviously in the first half he had a shot. But at least he was tracking back to win the ball, and he was getting involved. If it wasn't just standing up front like sometimes Aubameyang does, waiting for the ball. So apart from him, I thought Pepe was really, really good in the first half. And then obviously the second, he was sensational and come alive. And it looked like there was a kind of more of a togetherness with that front four yesterday, especially when they both scored. There was all the celebrations jumping on each other. I know sometimes people can say that doesn't mean so much, but it looked like they genuinely cared, and they genuinely were happy that Lacazette scored, and they genuinely were happy that Pepe had got it. They were all looking to celebrate together, and that was a good for me. One thing I will say about Pepe that's slightly negative is I wouldn't mind, I think Harry touched on it a few weeks ago, I wouldn't mind seeing him on the left just to give it a go, because he's so one-footed. I just want to see him knock the ball past someone and run, because he's got pace to burn, and he's not using it, because what he does is he gets the ball and he cuts back on his left all the time. So we never see him beat a man. We normally see him dinking in a ball or kind of linking up by cutting in on his left foot. The other good thing about him, though, is he can take a corner. He really does ping it in. The amount of times I've seen Ozil take those stupid little dinky corners that don't even beat the first man, forget him. Just don't put him on corners anymore. Pepe is our man for corners. So massive fan, and I just really want to see him come alive now, because I'm really frustrated by everyone saying that he was a waste of money and we paid over the odds, because I think there's a talent in there, and I just want to see that released, because he's got bags of potential, and he's still only a kid, 24. That's not old, man. He's got another 10 years in him if he wants it. So let's hope that he starts putting in regular performances like that, because for me, that was the best performance he's had in an Arsenal shirt so far.
Yeah, I think myself on Pepe, I've been quite harsh on him, and I still think he will come good. But like you say there now, he does frustrate me a lot. And for the fact of that, every time he gets the ball, he wants to cut in. I want him to, put it past the fella, nutmeg a fella and run on with it. Lee, what about Lacazette yesterday? I mean, that goal that went in, a striker that's not scoring goals, he's not going to care how that went in, is he?
Just showed you in football. He couldn't buy a goal, could he, like that? And then he does that and he scores. So. When it goes for you, it goes for you. I think he would have been disappointed to be left out, but I think it was the right decision. I thought when he come on, what I liked about, as Dan just touched on it, what I liked about is as soon as he come on, every player, Pepe included, who would like to score more goals in his early Arsenal career, were all looking to get him the goal. And once he got it, they all celebrated really, really well. I thought that was great to see. It shows you there is a good team spirit at the club, even when it's not been great. There seems to be a good atmosphere, and I think that can take you so far as well. I think any team that's successful, they need a good dressing room and harmony in it. And it's obviously he's a very, very popular lad. Got to say that he looks, very, very popular. Ultimate professional as well. We've done all his warm-ups yesterday, spot on. He wasn't just walking around sulking. He was positive there. And the other thing is, I think if I remember rightly, it was about the 85th minute that he come on, and when he got called, he sprinted to the bench to get on. It wasn't like, I've only got 5 minutes and all that. And I thought that was a real good thing to see, that even with 5 minutes to go, he's desperate to get on and desperate to do well. And I think that's something that probably isn't highlighted so much by the professionals these days. But I was very impressed with that.
Absolutely. This question came in from Bill earlier, a donation question. So thanks very much, Bill, for your donation. Lee, you'll have enough to buy a Big Mac.
Fantastic.
He wants to know, if everyone was fit, what would be the best 11?
Oh, that's a tough
question.
Yeah, good
Great
question. Good question.
Obviously, Leno in goal. Harry?
Really?
Bellerin, right back?
I could go through mine quickly. Yeah, Leno in goal, Bellerin right back, Mustafi Luiz. I know people are going to take the piss out of that, but Mustafi Luiz, Saka at this moment in time, Xhaka, Torreira, Ozil, Pepe, Aubameyang, Martinelli.
Not much to argue with there, Dan, is there? Or is there?
Yeah, not far off, to be fair. I'm never going to agree with Harry, am I? So I'll go Leno in goal. I'll go Bellerin and Tierney at fullbacks. I'd go with David Luiz and Socrates at the back. I would go with... actually, I wouldn't. I'll go David Luiz and Mari, because I feel like a left-footed centre-back is going to be just what we need, personally. So I will go with them. Listen, it could be any of them, couldn't it? Do you know what I mean? None of them are amazing. So I'll go with Mari and Luiz, because I've got a lot of time for this signing. I think he's going to be decent. I would go with Saka and Torreira, but I would play Martinelli left, Pepe right, and I'd have Lacazette behind Aubameyang.
Lee?
It's a real tough one, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Like Bellerin, and I'm going to go Saka at left back, because I think he's been outstanding there. He's been better than any other left backs in there, if I'll be honest. Like, David Luiz, I think, has proved everybody wrong at the moment. Like, I am going to agree with Dan, as much as well as Simon's been playing at the moment in time. I'm still going to go with Mari, because of why would we sign him?
None of you have been seen him play yet.
Exactly, that's what I was just
saying.
saying.
Hold on, Harry. I don't intro. What's your name, Graham? I've just said that. I just said I haven't seen him play.
I'm with Harry on that one.
But I am with Harry on that one. But at the end of the day, why sign? And just before I was rudely interrupted, I did say why sign him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so they must be seeing something that we've not seen. But if we're going to go on with players fit that what we've seen, I'm gonna go with Simon. I think he's done really well in the last few games. You know what I mean? So Simon Mustafi would be in there with Luiz. Ceballos and Saka, I think were there with Torreira would be my three, if I'll be honest. As well as Mesut Ozil played, he just doesn't do enough for me. If he was to play like that for the next 4 or 5 games, different. And the three up front, Martinelli, Aubameyang, and Pepe for me.
Fairly interesting. I think. I don't know. I think the only one there that is up for.
Yeah, Chambers. Someone just said in the chat. Chambers, if he was fit,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because obviously he's not fit at the moment.
I mean, look, this is the thing that. No, that's not it. This is the thing that worries me the most. If we all think that Saka's the best left back, what are we going to do with Kieran Tierney?
I'd play Tierney. I'd play Tierney. I wouldn't play Saka left back. I would play Tierney if everyone was fit, because I think
if Tierney comes back,
so you're leaving Saka out then, Dan?
Yeah, I would do. Sorry, I would, because I think that I don't believe Kieran Tierney's done anything wrong. I really don't. Like, I think the reason he got injured was a freak injury, like it was a shoulder injury. It wasn't like, oh, his hamstring's gone again. Oh, now his ankle. Oh, now it's his other leg. I think he's got the best crosser of the ball we've got, Kieran Tierney. I think he's great going forward, and I think that he can get back and defend. I'm a massive fan of Saka, but I think he's an 18-year-old that we can mould into the team, and I don't think that he is going to be our number one left back for the future. I could be wrong. He could be an Ashley Cole, but I think that Kieran Tierney is a 25 million signing that has done nothing wrong, and I think it would be harsh to sell him and keep blaming Kolasinac and then play Saka, and then he gets injured and we got Kolasinac back in. I'd much rather play Tierney, and then if Saka wants to come in as a left back behind him, that's fine. And then it's not going to be that every game that Saka's going to be on the bench. Saka can play left back, left wing. I think that would be the way forward for me. But listen, not a lot of people will agree. People that say Saka can't be dropped, and they're probably right. Maybe they're right. Maybe he can't be dropped because he has been sensational.
I've just got this bad feeling that Tierney's just one of those players that's going to be injured all the time. I said it when we signed him because I looked at his injury record at Celtic, and everyone kept pointing to the fact that he'd played a lot of games. For someone of his age, but he'd actually missed a lot of games as well. And I know it's a freak injury, and I know injury is luck most of the time, isn't it? But I just feel like some of those signings that we made, during the Unai Emery days, I feel like they're going to get cast out into the cold, and whether that's right or not, I think that if Arteta keeps seeing impressive performances from Saka, he will have no hesitation in leaving Kieran Tierney out because he's not his man.
I
agree.
Point. Yeah.
The one thing I would say about this, and I'm gonna say what Dan's saying. I think that he's got to come back and let's see what he can do. But if he breaks down again for any reason, I think Arsenal got to be ruthless. And if they have got a £25 million offer from Leicester, then I think cut your losses. But if he comes back in and produces performances, he's not going to get injured. Then it's another string to our bow, isn't it? And the more better players we've got. Listen, we're not. If we're going to challenge for top four and hopefully better, we're going to have a big, strong squad. So
that's what I'm saying, Lee. It's a good thing. It is a good thing. This is what I'm saying.
I mean, there was a comment coming, a very good comment coming there from. Let me see it there. 1 second. There it is. The competition leads to greater effort levels.
Exactly.
I mean, Kieran Tierney comes back, fully fit, and he thinks, right, I have this young lad now, chomping at the bit for my position. I'm going to have to step it up.
Exactly. I think that is exactly it.
Yeah. Just before, because I know people are anxious to go and watch Chelsea and Manchester United. And I'm sure a lot of people want to watch it, including myself. What about this Guendouzi situation, boys?
Ooh.
That sounds worrying, doesn't it?
Yes, Guendouzi apparently, and I say apparently in inverted commas, he's had a bust up with Mikel Arteta, and Mikel Arteta has left him out. Now, if someone said that to me, when I read that, I was like, do you know what? Brilliant. And I said to my wife, I said, Guendouzi got left out yesterday. Oh, what did he get left out for? I said, he had an argument with Arteta. Why did he leave him out? Now, I think it's great that he's left him out because it shows that he actually means what he said. When he first joined us, the words were, if you're not on board with me, then see you later. I'll get someone else in. Lee, let's start with you on that. I don't know what it is with Guendouzi. I think he's a fantastic talent and a fantastic player.
I've been very surprised.
His attitude off the pitch. He's coming to Arsenal from a League Two team, right? An unknown player. And I don't know, is it just me or what? But I just notice when you watch videos of them training and stuff like that, he seems to be a bit of a joker and a bit of a messer. And, is he putting it in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, listen, he's 20 years of age and he's made a bigger impact.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you again. Look, Guendouzi is the textbook example of overconfident and entitlement. Went from French League Two tier to starting week in, week out. for a top Premier League team needs to buckle his ideas. And Ella, I think that's absolute brilliant comment. Thank you very much indeed for that, because that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Ella, I was just about to say that like before you read you.
Have to start calling her Graham, won't we?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I echo everything that was said there, because I think that he's done more than what was expected. He's come in and been well over what we expected. I didn't really expect him to be in the side and doing what he's doing. And maybe he just got a little bit over his head with a little bit with, because don't forget, when he first come in, he was left out. He was left out of the side, completely without getting a chance. Because don't forget, we're under Emery, he played every game. As soon as Arteta come in, he was benched. So maybe he's just, like that little... 20-year-old who just got above his station a little bit. I thought he come back and showed what he was all about against Bournemouth, and I think that he's a very, very good player. And he's got himself in the national squad, and it's all gone a little bit too quick for him. Listen, every player's going to have disagreements with the manager on whatever, and I don't think that for 1 minute that's the end of the road for him. We're you've got to just probably being told that this is how it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised, boys. I'm going to say this now: if he's in the team against Olympiacos, I think that he could actually come in that one. And maybe he's just being rested for that game, because this not beat about the bush here. This is a massive game on Thursday for our Champions League qualification. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's back in, and people making a load of things out of it all. But I still think that hopefully, because I think that he's going to be a fantastic player, Guendouzi. He's a good player now.
Be interesting to see his reaction as well, won't it, Lee? See what he's like now. We don't know what's happened. It's all rumours, isn't it? And I think if Arteta has had some guts about him and he's been ruthless, then I think if he is dicking around in training, he needs to be told, doesn't he? And if that is the case, then Arteta's not having it. And I think it's a good thing, like Craig says. It'd be interesting to see Guendouzi's reaction now. And I'm with you, Lee. I think he's going to be a top draw player, but I think he needs a role model. And if it ain't going to be someone on the pitch, which I don't think we've really got, then maybe it can be somebody like Arteta, and he can be the manager that, when the kind of the students ready, the pupils ready, the teacher appears, they say, don't they? So let's hope that Arteta's going to have that,
Exactly, like, you know what I mean? So listen, I've got no problems with that. No problems with that. I think that I think that everything Arteta's doing at the moment, I'm happy with it. So hopefully it will continue.
What about you, Harry? What do you reckon on that situation, mate?
I think we got to be cautious about this, because Arteta uses the word behaviour pretty much every time he speaks, and he doesn't mean it maybe in the context that some people have taken it. When he says behaviour, he means the way they act, the way they carry themselves. He doesn't mean that he's a kid that's been on his worst behavior in training, and I think people take his words too literally sometimes. So that's number one. We don't know how much of a spat there's been, if there's even been one at all. But something I read today from James Benge at Football London, actually, he put a tweet out, and I thought it made the most sense of all the things I've seen regarding this today, was that Guendouzi seems the type of character that can overstep the mark unintentionally. So he can get a little bit overconfident. He can go too far, but maybe not with the worst of intentions. And if he's made an example of him because he's been playing up, then so be it. I'm happy with that. I've always said that Matteo Guendouzi's been thrown in too soon. He's been given too much responsibility for someone who had such little experience when he arrived at the club. It's a miracle how he's played so much. And for me, that was another, whilst it was a positive in the sense that he did show some good signs in sort of small periods during games, 45 minutes here and there, overall, it was one of the biggest problems in Unai Emery's tenure. So, for me, I'm happy that he's not in the team, because I don't think he's ready yet. It's not to say I don't like the guy or I don't want him to ever be in a team in the future, but right now he's not ready. And if Mikel Arteta feels like he needs to teach him a lesson because maybe he has got a bit overconfident, has got a bit carried away with himself, I'm absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, there's people in the comments there saying that, people are hating on him and this, that and the other. We're only discussing the rumours. We're not, I'm not taking it that's gospel that he's been left out because he's been naughty. People say, "Oh, what are you hating on Guendouzi for?" This, that, and the other. I know I can see my private chat box here going, so I think they're having a bit of a laugh in the private chat somewhere. Very unprofessional, boys. Very unprofessional. Just before we go, last week we done a competition to win a nice scarf. That was quite kindly. This is the scarf. There you go. Match day experience.
Oh, I've got it here. Look.
Oh, there you go. Look. And before the podcast started, Harry scrolled through all the names, and Lee said stop. And when Lee said stop, it landed on NSK Gunner. So if you're watching, congratulations, you won the scarf. I'll put it up on Twitter as well. You need to DM me your address, and we'll get it sent. Lee pays for all that kind of stuff, so hopefully you live in Australia. Your Twitter handle is at Enisk. I think that's right. ENESENSK. So congratulations, you win the scarf. We'll get that posted out to you ASAP. And like I say, I will put it up on Twitter just in case the person isn't watching. Thank you to my esteemed panel. Dan, thank you very much for your time.
Hey, boys. Cheers.
Harry, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Lee Judges, thank you very much, sir.
No problems whatsoever.
Anything before the court is adjourned? Anything to add?
No. I've got a quiet week this week, like, you know. So it's a very quiet week, like, you know what I mean. So no, I tell you what. No, I'm playing a charity game Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. Playing against what are they? The F2 boys. So looking forward to that on Sunday.
Where is it, mate? Can people want to come and watch it?
Football Club.
Waltham Abbey Football Club. On Sunday?
Sunday, 2:00 kickoff. So it's a quick dash from there up to the Emirates afterwards, like, you know. So there you go, like, you know.
There you go, like, yeah, like, all right.
Yeah. Well, this chat is terrible, like.
Oh no! If only they could see it. Well, I actually haven't looked at it yet, so
I hope that is
I'm not going to do it on air. No, I'm not. That leaves my only thank yous left to say thank you to everyone who's been watching live on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you very much for leaving the likes. I can see a few likes and a few hearts there on it. So thank you very much indeed. My thanks to Nigel in the chat, who's been keeping it clean. Lucky he's not moderating the private.
Well done. I'll tell you what, he's done his job today. It's about time, but he's done his job.
Good old Nigel.
Nigel.
It's a tough job. So thank you very much indeed, Nigel. We shall see you all again next week. Until we do, enjoy the Chelsea Man United game if you're watching it. Thanks if you're listening on audio. All the links are in the description for you as well for the West Cork Beer Company and whatnot. Until we see you again next week, take care of yourselves and each other. The Arsenal.